right, coffee in hand. All right, so essentially, what I wanted is to change Shade Life Cafe to what I originally wanted it to be. And Shade Life Cafe really is just like a place of conversation more than anything. When I was growing up as a dancer, one of the things that I absolutely loved within traveling and going to, traveling and going to new places and different places is the conversations that I would have with people that I didn't know, strangers, or when I would talk to them, it felt as if I knew them forever. And it could be dancers and artists, and it could be random people from somewhere I've never been. And that was really exciting, especially as a young dancer, just kind of growing up and trying to find your way through the community or through this world. So when you bump into people that you don't know, languages that you're not familiar with, cultural ways, all that happened through conversation, really. And it usually happened at cafes. And one of my favorite things still to this day is traveling, going to a cafe you've never been to, and just having conversations with people. I remember going to the Bay Area when I first became a soul shifter, part of that dance family on the West Coast. And when I would go over there, I was staying at one of my friend's house. He lived in the Mission, and every morning we'd just wake up and go to the cafe. And I mean, everyone would be sleeping because the night before we were probably out, dancing or partying or something like that. But like, our partying is different than partying. But we'd wake up and go to the cafe, and everyone would still be asleep. So it'd be, us and just kind of hanging out, and we would be there for, like hours, just talking about life, but also talking about other things and other people and strangers I've never met. And that was really exciting for me, is to have that experience at a young age and realize how much more of this has got to close. This is crazy. And just realize how much more of how much more of depth can be experienced in the little things. And so I've always wanted Shade Life Cafe to just be that. In addition, I've always wanted to have a place where it's just like an honest vlog. I think vlogs, when they first started, really, when you think about it, it's like progress. It's about updates. It's specimen number 654 started here in ABC, and now they're at DEF. To log the progress in video form, updates. And the part of it that I really enjoy is, in my culture, documenting your progress is a part of our culture. Putting the camera down and filming, and just seeing where you went wrong on your moves, or seeing the update, and then looking back at it at another point in time and being able to see yourself and man, this is where I was and this is where I'm at now. So I think it's really important to document, self-document, so that you are an individual that is in charge, responsible for your content, and not just the media or the industry or anyone. I love autobiographies when I really think about it. I love the concept of being able to document your own life and being able to share your story, and it's nobody else sharing it. It's you. It's from your perspective and what you want to, what message you want to spread to the world. And that's been a joy of mine for the longest I can remember, since I was put into a film class or a video class. So that's what I want this to be. I want it to be as relaxed and natural of conversation as possible. So that's where we're going to be taking this from now on. It's just updates. And within the updates, maybe there'll be some nuggets. Maybe there won't. I don't know. I'm going to try my best not to overthink it, if I'm honest. So this happened the other day. I thought it was really cute. I was putting my son to sleep. And things in the house are they're not bad. They could be better. And when I say better, I mean more like me personally, professionally, even mental health, and just how I operate day to day for my family. And I've been feeling it that there's just a lot of areas that I need to pick up, I need to fix, I need to grow in. If I'm honest, I'm not doing my best in a lot of areas, and I think I'm just too scattered. I'm thinking about too many things. So I was putting my son to sleep, and I gave him a hug and I kissed him, and then I whispered to him, but I'm not really whispering to him. I'm just whispering to myself. I say, "Don't worry, Daddy's gonna turn things around." Because I do. Essentially, that's what I want to do. Is I want to turn things around for my family, so that we can have more options, be more financially stable. Last couple months post pandemic has not been easy as a business, although we are surviving and we're doing okay. I just want to turn things around for us. So I told him Daddy's gonna turn things around, and he goes, "Daddy, whose things?" And I said, our things. Okay, but what things are you gonna turn, Daddy? I said, um, I mean, you know, your things, mommy's things, my things, right? This is a 3-year-old, okay? I was like, okay, Daddy, but whose things? Mommy's things, Daddy's things, Bodie's things, Nene's things, Uncle Jansen's things, Uncle Andy's things, Uncle Twin's things. Whose things? And I said, things. And then he goes, Daddy, you can't turn all our things. You can only choose one. Whose things are you going to turn? And I said, wow, this is really profound from a 3-year-old. So I said, I guess my things. I mean, if I could change my life, turn things around for me, then maybe I'll have a shot at turning things around for my family and the people that are around me and the people that I love. And then he looks at me and he goes, good job, Daddy. And then he goes to sleep. And man, I was up for a while after that. It was such like an honest conversation with my son, and that's one thing you gotta love about children. They're so honest, and there's no filter that really gets in the way of their mind. And I didn't realize, how much I actually appreciated that. Um, and there's a truth in that. I can only change things for myself. As much as I overly care about other people, even my son, I can, of course, adjust things and help, but at a certain point, he's gonna need to take that responsibility for himself and make those adjustments and those changes and to turn his life in the direction he wants to. All I can do is help guide and at best be the best example that he can see. I truly do believe that if a child sees their parents happy, doing what they love to do, succeeding and working hard, that's what they're going to want to do. But if a child sees their parents upset and struggling and stressed out, that only rubs into their own character. So if I can change more of my demeanor, my approach, my work ethic, if I can change things in my own life, I think that will translate into changing things for my family. And there's a lot that I want to change personally, professionally, mentally, physically. I'm at this really interesting place in my life right now where I've come to this deep realization how far removed I've taken myself away from myself. And that's not to say that I've lost myself. I just don't think over the past maybe decade or so, I've actually truly had a grasp of who self really was. So, my last talk that I did, my last special that I performed was called Own It. And that whole production was built as of me dealing with myself, owning who I am. And I finally got into this place where I'm just accepting it and owning those things. Even the littlest of details from, accepting that you have an injury and that you have to take time to heal, but also rehabilitate properly. It's going to take you longer than others to heal, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Or even just taking the time for myself to recognize where I'm at as far as my career. Certain things don't work out the way that you plan it, and as much as you want it to go a certain way, it just may not be. But if you can just, relax and breathe and open yourself up to what's in front of you, maybe you can discover something new about yourself. And this is where I've been, just accepting things, my childhood traumas, if I have any. For me, it's just figuring them out, because when you're an adopted child, it's not that you necessarily have traumas. You're just trying to figure out why you tick the way you tick, or why you're scared the way that you are, because there's a part of your life that was a bit interrupted and transitioned maybe more harshly than others, and you don't have the capacity to know what those memories actually are. At least that's for me in my case. So I've been owning those, on that search. I've also owned just what filmmaking is for me, even acting. I mean, acting has changed so much of my life, but it's also helped me realize how unhappy that I can actually be if I'm chasing a career and not just living in and through the potential that I actually have. And that's been a really interesting perspective. I was, thinking about it the other night. I've been doing this meditation at night, and that's not to be like all om and I've just been sitting in silence. That's it. Before I go to bed, I just sit in silence, and I just breathe. That's it. I don't try to focus on anything else, and I just let thoughts come to me and let them pass. And one thing that I've realized is that I really enjoy the craft of acting. But within enjoying the craft of acting, I also realize that acting is a craft that I have to build a relationship with. And just like dance, while I feel very complete when I'm dancing, and I feel very whole in that experience and confident, and in ways, even when I'm not at my best, I still feel confident in my relationship with dance. And that's just because I've spent time with dance. And that's something that I don't necessarily have with acting. I may have some natural capabilities. I may be good at certain things because of my past and what I understand through the art of performances. But the relationship I have with acting is still very elementary. And as much as I enjoy it, it's important for me to know that you just gotta... I told myself I don't want to be an actor. I just want to act. I just want to experience the craft and let the craft take me where it takes me, because I do respect it. And as much, of course, like we all want to get booked and be famous, and we all want to be in shows and movies. I do. But even within that, I think that I would rob myself of the experience if I just tried so hard to jump into the world of it and not really experience what the lifestyle, the adjustments that you have to make in your life for this craft, the mirror that you have to face. It's such a crazy, psychological, broken and beautiful experience. I've been doing a lot of internal work, diving into myself. What are my traumas? What are my pains? What am I scared of? What makes me happy? And doing sensory work, which is finding, what are the senses that trigger certain thoughts and emotions. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of techniques to work on, but that's just building the relationship with the craft. And that's really where I've been in the last, probably like 4 or 5 months. And I've even decided that when it comes to acting, I want to treat it the same way that I do with dance or any craft. It's learning it communally. And that's something I don't necessarily know if it's a huge thing in the world of acting. But, learning amongst your peers more than your teachers. Like having mentors, because in dance we have mentors, but we don't necessarily have teachers. Like, this person taught me this. right? We just have families that we're a part of, and most of those families, truthfully, are your peers. You learn from your peers. There's this old saying, don't look up, look around, which essentially means, don't focus so much energy on the people that you look up to, but you're going to learn so much more from the people that are around you, the circle around you. And that's really important, to have a community of people that get you, understand you, but also can relate to you because they're within the similar generation. And that's not to say don't have mentors. This is more importantly to say, yes, have mentors and teachers to guide you. But the only way that you really learn and internalize those lessons is if you are able to practice them on a consistent basis with your peers, with your community. So that's what I want to do in the next couple months. This isn't to say that I'm going to stop auditioning, that I'm going to stop creating and acting. No, I want to act more. I just don't want to focus so much on getting booked. I want to focus it on experiencing this craft. And that's me owning that. That's me owning where I'm at. Like, it's okay to be still learning. And I'm relearning everything now in dance. I actually started dedicating more time and space to discovering myself within breaking, which is the origins of dance that I come from, but now rediscovering myself in other genres of movement. And that's going to be an interesting task. So just being a student again. And honestly, I feel so alive of being a student again, allowing myself to be a student. It's been a very long process, and I'm not really sure if I've actually taken the time for myself to grow artistically, even within dance. It's been so rushed. It's always been about the next battle. It's always been about winning this or winning that. And what I've learned is that the journey of a dancer, man, it really is just about the journey. And every experience is its own experience. And you just live in that moment, and then you add that to the chapter, and you turn the page onto the next one. And then you realize, oh my gosh, I'm capable to be able to compete with these people that were at this certain caliber. And that happened faster than you thought, simply because you were just consistent with your practice, with your training, with your lifestyle. And that's what it is that I need and want to do with acting as well. But what's interesting is that dancing is helping me relate so much to acting, and acting is helping me relate back to dancing. So it's almost as if I can build a relationship amongst them all and myself. So that's pretty interesting. So that's the update as far as that career-wise. I've also decided personally, as I check in with you guys, myself really, the SHADELIFE company, I want it to change, like, completely. I want it to be more focused on working with and building with creatively the dance community, but building creative community in and through dance community. I've dedicated so much of my life to bringing up the community in and through dance, because that's how I came up. I came up, hip hop club at Sachem High School in Long Island, New York. And a couple of different layers of what that is between grades, and then going to the Rock Community Church in Brentwood or Central Islip, and that's where I lived Thursday nights. Moving down to Florida was going to Catalyst every Saturday in when it was in Pines, Pembroke Pines, and it's a community and it's a ministry, but it's also a safe space to grow, and I really value that. And I want that experience also to... I want that experience also to carry into the next generation. Because dance right now is at this high when it comes to content, and I want to push people to become artists, but I also want to give them, a community experience. And I think that's a great childhood no matter where you grow up. I want to give that to my family as well. I think that's really important for them to grow up and have a communal experience where dance is something that is cultural and also experiential, enough that you own it as a part of your upbringing, because that's what it is for me. It helped me grow and it helped me understand myself, and it was a safe space for me to figure life out and to deal with life in many of ways. So that's where Shade Life's going to be. It's going to be about aiding more in that area. Simultaneously, still involved in content because it's photo and it's video, but it's going to be more focused on helping and building and working with creative movement artists. And I also want to help people do more stuff like this, which is to help people document their life. Autobiographical films or content creation, you could say, autobiographical content creation that has existed for a long time. It's becoming more popular. Like you see documentaries that are filmed by and created. I mean, you look at the Kanye West one. It wasn't necessarily him, but it was his friend. You look at the Val Kilmer documentary. I mean, these documentaries have so much weight because they're more personalized. It's more of the story that comes from a personal place and not necessarily what's a story that's going to sell. And that gives you the honest, most authentic approach, really, because now you get to get into the minds of an artist and into their journey. And I think that's important. I think that's important for other people to see and experience, and also for you to share as an individual, so you can help make sense of the journey too. Because you never know who's listening and who resonates with certain details of your life. So those are the changes that I really want to make and I really want to adjust. And my hope is that through this stuff, through the work that I do, I could just be of better service, I guess you could say, to others. And again, just going back to what my son said, it's really me changing things around in my own life, in my own work, and that will in itself turn things around for the people that I love and care about and who are around me. So, yep. So that's what's going to be. Just you, cup of coffee, and good conversation. Shade Life Cafe. Nice.